blog? Is there a business in this?
There are podcasters who are making a living on just the podcast and the podcast advertising right now. At this point in the travel space, it's a little harder because we're not selling. A lot of the travel advertisers are just not aware of podcasting as much right now, and that's my fault more than Craig's, because Craig actually calls them, and I sit there and wait for them to call me. So he's selling, he's got not quite the same numbers, but making more money on advertising than I am because he picks up the phone and calls people.
But it's still not enough. We're trying to fund 2 people traveling around the world, running a site. You know, I'd love to be able to pay the people that write for us. I'd love to be able to fund people into their travel dreams. I'd like to find an interesting backpacker starting their around the world trip and go, "You want an extra couple of $100 a week? Write stories for us." Now I'm contacting them and going, "Love what you do. If you've got the chance to write for us, that would be great. But I'd love to be making enough money to be able to be doing that." And so that money, well, it's not there for us. So we're combining direct advertising sales, affiliate sales, and a few other bits and pieces that come up now and again. And consulting. If your business would like to get into podcasting and build brand, come talk to me, or Chris.
And the other thing we're seeing is that right now in the podcasting space in general, because I interact with a lot of podcasters, is as the economy tanked, we saw podcast sales drop off a little. So it will pick up a bit as we come out. It's stayed more constant, for instance, in tech than it did in anything else, but a lot of the regular sort of consumer-facing one, did really drop off quite a lot.
I've noticed that in areas like technology, travel's like 3 years behind. And the people travel is an enormous industry, but when it comes to these things, if I can be blunt, the people are kind of clueless, and they just don't know to advertise. They just don't know. He's getting 1 million downloads a year in his podcast. Certainly they're a travel channel, but I mean, for what it would cost to advertise on the travel channel, which people have no problem doing, for a fraction of that, I'm sure you could be quite happy. And get, it's a sizable part of the audience. People just don't know any better yet. And I'd say it's going to take some time, but I think it'll eventually catch up. Let's do one more question on podcasting.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I'm not very technical. It might be a dumb question, but if you're putting podcasting on your blog, what about bandwidth?
So Craig and I do different things. He mentioned what he did, which is he puts it on his server and then has to have sufficient bandwidth on his server for the podcast downloads.
We pay a lot.
Oh, okay.
I don't put it on my server. It used to be on when I started, it was actually on a machine in my office. I mean my home office, running over the DSL line on a 450 megahertz server. And then iTunes featured me while I was away at a podcasting conference, and that machine did all but catch fire. It was not able to handle that, and I was able to get some additional hosting through my company actually, and now I'm hosting with a company called Libsyn, Liberated Syndication, LIBSYN.com. And for Libsyn, what you do is you pay $25 a month for what you upload. You don't pay for downloads. So as long as they stay in business, that's a really good model. And I'm really, really hoping.
You mentioned that you do consulting on this. What is your fee typically? Take it off.
$3 million.
Give an idea of how much this is.
For myself, I take it on a case-by-case basis. If you're a multinational, then we'll talk real money. If you're an independent blogger, we'll see what we can negotiate. I'm really keen to build the space, build travel blogging as a niche, because I think the bigger it gets, the more money there is in the pool, and the more interesting people can do interesting things. So, we want to pay our bills and keep traveling and hopefully expand, but yeah, so case by case.
The funny thing is, and this is a little odd because Craig and I are both encouraging competition.
Yeah.
But and teaching people how to be a good competition. One, we're supremely overconfident is part of the thing that's going on. But the other thing is that for a major company to buy advertising, they want a bigger number. They don't want to buy on a podcast that only gets 50 downloads, even unless that's Bill Gates 50 people who are billionaires or something like that. And so we actually, for instance, all 3 of these podcasts are in the Travel Cast network, which it allows us to sell travel advertising to a variety of podcasts all at the same time. And so while it's building competition, it's